Hello, everybody. It's me again, and I'm back. And today I'm doing a Warframe boss tier list. Now, many of you OGs, I'm sure, remember that I used to play Warframe quite a lot on the channel. I still play it some. I've gotten out of it a little bit, but a little while ago I was playing it a ton. Like, I've got over 500 hours on that thing. Like, I played it a lot, and I still do play it occasionally. I'm kind of just waiting for the new update. I'm a little burned out of it. Understandable for someone who's played over 500 hours of a game. And, I fought most of the bosses in the game, not all of them, as that is why I've put in the haven't fought yet category. And I'm going to be ranking the Warframe bosses by how fun I think the boss fights are, how cool the graphics and designs are, just everything overall. And I have no idea if these are in an order or not. I just found this online. I do not believe this has every boss up to date, so for bosses that aren't here, like the Ropalolist, I know I was looking at this and this wasn't, and that wasn't in here. I'll just mention where they are. So, first things first, let me zoom out real quick. There we go. And now I'm going to move my keyboard. I'm just going to bring my mic. Hopefully it doesn't die on me. And bring my mouse. Okay. Now that I'm up close to the screen and I can actually see, stay away from him too and blast him with your arch gun over and over again. And, like, no one uses arc wings. So, like, my arc wing and the arch gun and stuff weren't even high enough ranked or powerful enough within the mods because I don't even have many arch gun mods or anything. So he was just really annoying because I didn't have enough damage because you never use your arc wing. And I know that there are like necromechs and heavy weapons now that allow you to level up your arc gun, but like, and I don't have the what's it called, gravity thingamajig that allows you to summon down a heavy weapon. So yeah, he's just a really slow and tedious boss fight. Almost all of his 3 attacks are easy to dodge. Actually, they're all easy to dodge. Ranked like mine is. Next up, Lephantis. I gotta say, Lephantis has gotta be... I'm torn between not bad and pretty good. I'm gonna throw him in... Compared to some of these other bosses, I'd say he's pretty good. Lephantis is just pretty fun to run through, especially when they did the speedrun challenge. That was like, how quickly can you kill Lephantis? Can you kill him in under 5 minutes for an working catalyst or whatever? Which was incredibly... Lephantis. And now I'm realizing that these are 3 heads. For the longest time, I thought this was a golem. Like, this was the arm, these were the shoulder pads, arms, head, neck, chest. Now you probably can't unsee that if you're seeing what I saw. That's why I was so confused when I fought Lephantis, because I thought he was this big golem, and now I'm realizing that these are the 3 heads. Oh gosh. I'll never be able to unsee that golem. But in second phase, the acid puddles, when you run into it, it's just annoying, but it's like you're not paying attention. So he kind of just earned that damage. The targets, they aren't super tedious to hit. I believe one of them is kind of annoying. Can't remember which one for certain. One of the heads is kind of annoying. I think was kind of annoying. But you can use Sargus Ruck, because I know I was complaining about the precision. Lephantis, you have to be precise, but not that precise where it's annoying. He drops Necros, which is a pretty good grindy Warframe. I put him in pretty good. Or at least compared to some of these other bosses. Like, he's way better than Sargus Ruck. Next up, Mutalist Alad V. If he didn't have that cool design, I would throw him in the worst down with Hyena Pack. But there are just a few little things carrying him. So I got put him in bad and not the worst. I think he's a terrible boss fight. He's boring, he's repetitive. You can only hit him while he's using the one attack, which is just boring. Like, I don't want to wait for him to use this one attack and then beat up on him for a second or two, and then just wait till he does that one attack again. And he keeps teleporting away from you, which is annoying as well. And then he uses the attack, and you don't even get to hit him while he's doing it. It's just a tedious boss fight. And you may be thinking, why didn't you throw him in the worst? My gosh, he looks cool. Like, he looks pretty cool, and the build up to it is pretty good as well. Like, I was legitimately nervous about fighting him after I completed the quest and gotten the blueprint. Because I was like, this guy's probably going to be decently tough for a Warframe boss. Nope, he just chucks his hat at you and like shoots a laser at you or something. I don't remember. And Mesa's cool, but like I don't even want to grind for Mesa. I'll just get Mesa Prime if it wasn't for me wanting to get the Mastery XP. Like, he's just not good. And the story of Allied V is very good as well. The story and the character design and the build up are what's bringing him up from the worst to bad. Next up, Corrupted Vore. Or no, just normal Vore. Corrupted Vore's over here. Captain Vore. Let's see. I like him. He was cool. The first time you fight him, he's cool. You know, you fight him multiple times. At the end of Vore's Prize, as the boss of Mercury, I'm gonna sit down because I'm tired of standing up. You fight him as a tag team fight with Let Krill on Series, and then you fight Corrupted Vore in the Void sometimes. He's got an interesting story to him, and I like that at the beginning of the game, it's kind of like you're facing that rival that you've had for a while who's been antagonizing you. That was cool. The boss fight itself was not that bad. Like, it's probably one of the more boss fight feeling boss fights in the game, if you get what I mean by that. Like, some of these bosses you just rush up and just smack them over and over. You know, they don't have really showy attacks or anything. They don't really have multiple phases, many of them, or many of the ones, well, especially earlier game. Vore's just cool. Like, he has the shields and the attacks. He's pretty cool. I gotta give him a not bad. Just the, like, player-Vore rivalry antagonism. And, I guess just the build-up, I guess, is what I'm trying to go for here. But he doesn't drop a Warframe until you fight him co-op with Let Krill. And I'm not really counting this as the Let Krill fight. I'm counting Captain Vore more as like just the singular Captain Vore fights on Mercury and at the end of Vore's Prize. Because the tag team fight on Series, that's just bland. Like, I get the idea. They wanted to throw these two bosses together, but they're both easy. Like, Let Krill just takes a little while because you gotta wait for his first phase ice thing. And then after that, he's just easy. And then Vore, at that point, he's just... You can just spray him down. Which he's definitely semi-easy early on, but I remember the first time I fought him, back when I was on Switch, way back in, what was it, 2018, like the Saint of Ultra update, the update that brought in Goss. I just remember fighting him for the first time. I was nervous, like I legitimately struggled on him. Of course, then again, I was using a controller and a Mark I bow and arrow, so I also didn't really know how to play. But that was just such an achievement, it felt like, once I had beaten him. Like, I was just so happy. So I gotta put him in not bad. He's pretty good. Jeez, I'm taking forever on each of these fights. Next up, Jackal. Okay. Jackal's an interesting case, because I fought him before and after the rework. Before the rework, I would put him at meh. Like, he's just meh. Like, the attacks are meh. The spectacle is meh. As the first proper boss of the game, he's just kind of meh. Like, his attacks hit pretty hard. He's decently dangerous. Actually, he's pretty dangerous. But not super dangerous. But then we had his rework back in the Deadlock Protocol. The thing that was basically carrying the update, besides the tile set upgrades. Thank goodness those came around. Oh, here's the other Orb Mother. Jackal, post-rework though, he got super difficult. Like, he was pretty easy before. Then he just got tough. The spectacle was increased. I feel like they reworked him a little bit too much. And for some reason, you just go into a second arena for no reason. Maybe they just wanted to have a spectacle cutscene or something. I'm not sure. But just averaging the two out, I just remember the first time I played it with Jason, Status Leaf. Jason. I remember fighting him for the first time with Jason. He was buggy at first, but we were just like, what the heck? This is crazy. This is so cool. But it's super difficult. I gotta put him, just averaging the two out, I gotta put him in the not bad category. Like, he's not up here, but he's pretty good. Actually, I take that back. I'm putting him up here and pretty good. Just thinking about, like, I feel like he doesn't deserve a spot up with Lephantis, but he's definitely above Captain Vore, at least in terms of spectacle. But then again, he's just a Corpus Proxy, so I'll just put him not bad, but like above Captain Vore. Well, these, I'm not gonna have these positions represent like their actual ranks within the tiers, but Jackal's a not bad, but a better not bad than Captain Vore. Actually, I take that back. He's worse than Captain Vore. Whatever. We got him in the not bad tier. That's where I'm leaving him. And this is all subject to change. Next up, the Juggernaut. So I'm just going to basically do these two together. This is the Juggernaut and the Juggernaut Behemoth. Well, actually, no, I won't do them together. I'll do the Juggernaut first, though. Juggernaut, he's more like a mini-boss than an actual boss. He just kind of appears in Eris missions. Decently tanky, but you kind of gotta grind him a little bit for the Jordas Precept husks and stuff to make the... Oh gosh, I don't even remember what it's called. The infested repellent / attracting thing. You know what I'm talking about if you know what I'm talking about. But he's not really even a boss. He just kind of runs at you menacingly. I'm probably gonna put him in the worst. Like, I was anticipating him the first time I saw that. I was like, oh no, this might be kind of tough. He's not even that big either. He's just an overgrown pig with tentacles that likes running into you and headbutting you for some reason. I gotta put him in the worst. And then you got the Juggernaut Behemoth. This guy's older brother. I gotta put him a little bit above in the bad category. He's cooler looking than the Juggernaut, and he's an actual boss. And at the end of the Jordas Precept one, right before you fight the Jordas Golem. He's not great, but he's definitely better. There's really not many differences that I can remember, except that this one's cooler and it's an actual boss, or cooler looking. Next up, we've got normal Alad V. I've got to say he's pretty great. I was not expecting to put any boss fights up here, but now just looking at all the rankings I have below and just all the explanations. I made an original tier list, I remember a while ago, when I got the idea to think of this video. I don't even think I rated him that high back then. Just looking at... Oh gosh, no, I didn't even... Wow, okay. That doesn't have any influence on me, by the way, for the, I'm trying to have it have very little influence my original ideas. But honestly, I'm just throwing that out the window with this. Alad V, he's really fun, I gotta say. At least compared to the other bosses. He's got the Zanuka Hunter, which you gotta figure out that first time that you fight him, that you've gotta kill the Zanuka Hunter before you kill Alad V. You just gotta smack down Zanuka. Like, it's just a fun fight. It's interesting. Alad V's got a great story to him, as said before with you. He's got a great story. Decently good looking. He's not the best looking character in Warframe, but he's not terrible. And don't forget about the memes. Salad the Fifth. Salad V. Like, he's just great. He's really fun. And you can grind neural sensors off of him. And you get Valkyr, which is probably in my top 10 favorite Warframes. Or top 5, even. Like, he's just great all around. Next up, Corrupted Vore. I gotta give him a meh. Like, he's like Vore, but worse. He just kind of talks to you menacingly, and then just kind of appears. Your first time going through the end of the void when you're unprepared, like I was. Like, he was just annoying. He just spawned on the first mobile defense mission, which was already incredibly difficult as is. Probably one of the hardest missions in the game. Tier 4 void mobile defense. He just appeared and he just destroyed, like, everything in that entire attempt. His attacks are pretty boring. I think he just thinking about it, I can't remember. I've only fought him a few times. And he wasn't very memorable. He's just a field boss. He kind of just teleports around and shoots lasers at you. And his design isn't that interesting either. Neither of it is his story. Like, Vore got finally killed the third time you beat him. And then his Janus key just sort of turned him into a Void Guardian. Which I'm glad that the Orokin, the corrupted faction, I guess I should say. I'm glad the corrupted finally got a boss. But, like, he's just not that interesting. The thing that's carrying him, though, is that he dropped some pretty good mods and pretty rare mods. So that's kind of just carrying him up there for me. Whew. Okay, now, on to the next boss. Oh, I paused it for you all, but I had to step away and grab a drink. My throat was really hurting after that. Whew, haven't made a YouTube video in a while. I think it's showing. Next up, Killa de Thame. She's interesting. You need the Rathoon points to challenge her, which is an interesting little concept. I kind of like Rathoon, not enough to where I'd play it a lot unnecessarily. But, like, it's not bad. Her boss fight is meh. She hits really hard for seemingly no reason. The little spinny wheel things are kind of annoying. But overall, it's not a bad boss fight. I guess her design is pretty boring. But it's not bad. It's not bad. Next up, Razorback Armada. This one's an interesting one because I have fought it before, technically, but I didn't really do much. I don't really know how the boss fight works exactly because I had no idea what I was doing. I just loaded in to a squad who was already in the middle of the boss fight, and I had no idea what I was doing, and then they just took it out before I could figure it out, and then I just left. So I fought it, but I haven't really fought it. So I'm just going to stick it into the haven't fought yet. Technically I have, but not to where I'd know enough about it to give an actual opinion about it. Ambulus, this one's an interesting one. I've said that a few times, I know. But this one's a really interesting one. I kind of like it. It's interesting. It's a fun little thing. It's got a neat story leading up to it. The whole parent sequence, false prophet. No, not false prophet. That was a different operation. Ambulus Reborn event or whatever. Which I didn't play in that, but the story is interesting about the rivalry between Fraudbeck and parent sequence guy. I don't remember his name. Haven't played Warframe in a while. Oh gosh, I actually cannot remember his name. But their little rivalry and stuff, and the ship in the sky and everything involving that is pretty cool. This boss fight, the whole concept of having to take down the ambulance and then defend it from getting hacked, it's pretty fun and interesting. And while the ship's attacking you, I'll give it a pretty good. But there are a few big buts. One, a lot of those attacks hit for a very high amount of damage. Like, too high. Like, way too high. Like, the ship bombardments, those hit really hard. Like, the laser or something on Ambulance hits really hard as well. And it's, like, unnecessarily hard, in my opinion. Two, these things are strangely annoying to take down. Like, when I'm trying to smack it, it just feels like I'm barely dealing any damage to it, despite having a really good weapon that should be shredding right through it. Another thing, the Animo nav coordinates. That is just annoying. There are some ways there are some methods you can use to grind them up a lot quicker than other ways, but just the ambulances are annoying to kill. And if you don't know that method, I think there's a defense mission that you can go through and get a bunch. But if you don't know the method, then it is very annoying to try and scavenge up all the Animo nav coordinates you need. Luckily, you only lose 5, so that's definitely bumping it up a few notches. And you also get Trinity from it, which is a great Warframe. I'm currently loving Trinity. Honestly. Like, loving Trinity. Like, probably more than my previous main, Excalibur Umbra. Like, I have recently been really liking support roles in games, and Trinity is just the support role. So, between not bad and pretty good, I don't want to put it in pretty good because I don't think it's quite Lephantis, but I definitely think that it's better than Captain Vore and Jackal and Keladathame. So I'm going to put it in pretty good. Speaking of Keladathame, now that I look at her a little bit, I think I got to drop her down to meh. She's really not that interesting. I don't know what I was thinking with her. Next up, who are you? Oh, Lieutenant Krill. I was thinking he was one of the Grusdrag 3. I was like, why is there a random Grusdrag 3 member here? And then I realized it was Krill. Okay, Lieutenant Krill. He looks strangely similar to the Grusdrag 3. Just at this distance, because I'm sitting kind of far away. He's meh. I'm gonna give him a meh. Because he's not bad, but he's not good. First phase of his fight is kind of annoying. You just gotta wait for him to do the one attack where he, for some reason, freezes himself. I guess Grineer really aren't that smart. If this famed lieutenant is freezing himself with state-of-the-art Grineer technology, they really need to fix themselves up. These experimental corpus proxies that are not mass-produced according to lore, but I can keep finding it over and over again, so for all intents and purposes it's mass-produced, are tougher than this war-experienced veteran with state-of-the-art Grineer tech who freezes himself. And then second phase is just who can kill the other one faster. Like, is he gonna, especially that early on, is he gonna just land a few hits on you and kill you? Or are you just gonna land a few hits on him and kill him? Well, not a few hits. You're gonna need to land a bunch more on him. He's just a meh. The Gorgon he shoots is kind of annoying early on, but once you learn his patterns, he's pretty easy to take down. And he's not really that interesting overall either. Next up, the Sergeant. no, oh, whatever. It's just being aggravating. Can we just reshoot that? That was supposed to be for dramatic effect, and they just messed it up. But you all get what I was going for. He's a tier on his own. He is worse than the worst. Like, he is just... If you fought him, you know what I mean. He's a reskinned Corpus crewman that can go invisible and has voice lines. Like, there's really nothing more to... Do you even... What does he even drop? Like, what does he even drop? After doing a little bit of research, it turns out he drops mag. In other words, just looking it up on the Warframe wiki. Shoutouts to them. They are great. I've spent way too many hours looking at the Warframe wiki. He drops mag, which I completely forgot about. Which... Mag's not bad, but like... On to the next boss. We have... what is your name? Ford. Right, Ford. So, Ford, I remember first fighting him, I was so excited because Nyx was a Warframe that I could actually craft before going to Phobos or the Void or whatever to get the parts that I would need for just about every other Warframe. Speaking of which, Nyx is like one of the only Warframes you can craft before going to Phobos. Turns out Nyx was terrible, which I didn't realize until after I got Nyx on the PC version, because I never really played with Nyx much on the Switch, because I quit shortly after that. Ford's interesting. I was hyped to fight Ford when I first encountered him, but now, like, there's no point to. Like, I've got Nyx, which that's the case with most of these bosses, but Ford's an invasion boss, so, like, I don't know. Really, the only reason to fight him, he doesn't let you progress really or anything. The only reason you'd want to fight him is if you want the invasion rewards or if you want to get Nyx. Like most of these other bosses either attack you as assassins or they're private quests or you need to fight them to progress or they're for story or... No. Ford's just an invasion boss. And he's not that interesting either. He mostly just rushes at you and I think maybe occasionally spits at you aggressively. I'm gonna put him on bad. Well, the design's kind of cool, but like he's just overall a pretty boring boss. He's pretty easy to take down too. Probably the biggest threat is just the swarm of infested attacking you, especially if you're early on. Or just not being able to kill him before he starts throwing out. I think there's one dangerous attack, at least for early game people, but I don't really remember because I'm not an early game person anymore. Next up, the Raptors. I remember when I first fought these guys, I was a little bit confused. I definitely had trouble with them at first. I'm going to put them at not bad. They're an interesting fight, interesting idea. They're annoying to fight, though, is the problem. And I didn't understand what I was supposed to do at first. And I'll put them at meh. Like, they really are just meh. They're kind of annoying to fight with the little miniguns and attacks and stuff. I found myself struggling at first, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with having to struggle through a boss fight. Especially on Warframe, which is relatively easy. It's just how, like... The struggle factor was from just, like, an annoying minigun on each of them. Like, it wasn't even from anything interesting. It was just the standard attack, the minigun. I would just be, like, doing whatever, just trying to shoot them. Oh, look, you're trying to shoot me? I'm gonna beam you in the head with the minigun. Like, I'm good. Next up, Shadow Stalker. I've got to rate him either pretty good or great. So the boss fight itself, he's kind of a Captain Vore situation. The boss fight itself is not super interesting. He's relatively easy. He mostly does melee attacks. He's just overall not super interesting as a boss. But as a character, he is very interesting. The second Dream Quest, that entire quest was so cool. And just the build up, the lead up, Shadow Stalker, like, just going from Stalker, Shadow Stalker, Broken War, which is still my main melee weapon to this day. Like, the design of him is so cool. Just the concept of him is so awesome. He was basically, like, the introduction to Hunhow, well, not really. The Nada quest technically introduced the sentience in the Hunhows, or the Hunhow. But this was like when they actually first started doing stuff. And that was just such a cinematic quest, especially compared to the previous quests. Like, for crying out loud, most of Nada was just a 10-wave defense mission. Like, that was the majority of it. And, like, there weren't many cutscenes and that quest and just the build-up and the story and it's just so good. Actually, I probably gotta rate him up here with Alid V. Okay, next up, Sprague. Well, I'm gonna rate these two together. They kind of go together. Sprague and Vinkratal, whatever her name is, Vinkratal. Two assassins or field bosses that come at you when you're doing an Orcan sabotage mission. They're annoying and they're not interesting. That's about all there is to say about them. She snipes you, she rushes you with a hammer, and they both have jetpacks. I hope they get a rework. I'm probably gonna rate them probably down here. They've got almost no characterization. Field bosses in general, I just do not really like. Not much more to say about them than that. You only see them like twice as well, or actually maybe even once on one specific mission, maybe two. Grenier Orcan sabotages. Maybe if you saw them more, they would be up a little bit, but for what they've got, they're probably some of the worst bosses. Next up, Normal Stalker. Normal Stalker, he's not bad. I think it's cool how he kind of seems like he's a runaway Tenno, or like a traitor's Tenno or something. He seems more loyal to the Orcan than the Tenno, which he seems to be a Tenno. But, like, I don't know. He's just meh, I'd say. Like, he's cool. He's not super difficult. In fact, I really only fought him once or twice, and it was just kind of Like, he wasn't very memorable. I barely even remember fighting him. So, if I barely even remember fighting him, then he was probably not memorable enough for me to store him into my memory bank. So I'm going to shove him into meh. Next up, Lynx. The reskinned, easier version of Jackal. He can appear as a security in Grenier spy missions in a certain tile set. Believe the Mercury one, the underground asteroid base. Maybe it was a different one. Yeah, I think it was Mercury. I don't know. He was basically just reskinned old Jackal, which is why I'm glad they changed Jackal, because they were basically Lynx was easier Jackal and a field boss and just less threatening all around. I'm gonna put him in bad. Like, what's worse about him than Jackal is that Jackal summoned like little attack drones and Lynx summoned shield drones. Or shield ospreys, which just heal up his shield, and that's just like so annoying. It's Jackal, but more annoying and weaker, and very rarely seen. But I do have to say, though, when you do see him as a security threat in Grineer tile sets for that one Grineer tile set for Spy for the first time, and he activates, that's kind of cool. That's kind of dope. Next up, Grusdrag 3. I gotta give him a meh. Their backstory is not super interesting. They're a bunch of murderous Grineer that got trained by Dr. Tengo to go after Tenno instead of Grineer. And they're usually a squad, except for on Clem missions and a man of few words. And I mean, you do see them individually then, but individually they're just not really a threat, except for like one of them. And even all together, they're not that bad. I don't know. I remember I took them down with my cousin once in Steel Path, because he had this crazy Nyx build. I'm not going to go into details about that. That was fun, but like, they're not that bad, I gotta say. Next up, Tile Rigor. This one is pretty fun, I must admit. I liked him. I like the whole concept of the underwater thing, the underwater lab that he was in. For the longest time, I thought that his eyes were up here and this was like a breathing mask. But it turns out this is where his eyes are, and now he looks all geeky because he's got like this weird little crown thing. I thought it was so cool because I thought the eyes were up here. He had like a mask here because he was underwater. Nope, his eyes are down here, and this is all just like a wig crown metal thing. It's almost like you know that sun orange slice crown looking thing from the Emperor's New Groove that one guy wears. That's what it looks like to me, only like more laid back and cooler looking. The boss fight though is pretty fun. The Manics make it a little more interesting. Just him teleporting around and just randomly attacking you. Kind of annoying to farm though, especially since he drops Equinox, so that definitely bumps him down a few notches. You always having to go up because of the electrified water coming up, that's a cool little element and it restricts your fighting space. Overall, fun boss fight, but not as fun as some others, or good as some others. Counselor Vayhek. First time I tried to fight him, it was just annoying because I just could not seem to hit him because his face is just so... Nah, I'm putting him in bad. Like, the character is decent, but the boss fight is just annoying. I remember I went in originally with the Gorgon, and I was just trying to hit him, and I just could not seem to hit him, especially when his face was exposed. I just could not seem to hit him. It's annoying how he's always flying around and shooting at you, but his hitbox is so tiny on that tiny little face. And I guess that's the point with his Terraframe, but like, it's just annoying. Really annoying. He's got creepy eyes. And blue lips for some reason. I guess he had too many popsicles while he was over there on Earth. And I guess he's a little bit photogenic too, since he got the little red eye problem. Yeah, I'd put him right here. I just honestly had to get someone to carry me through that when I first went through, because I played through it when I first unlocked it or around that time, and I've just never touched the boss fight since after I got that one guy to carry me. I could probably beat it now, but still, just like that first impression was just... First impressions are everything. It was just, why is this a thing? I run out of ammo before I can even kill him. Like, no. Wolf of Saturn 6 is one of the last ones. I can think of at least one more that wasn't on this list. Wolf of Saturn 6. I gotta give him a meh. He's cool. Story behind him is cool. Boss fight's pretty boring and generic, though. You get him... Well, he was the boss of Nightwave Series 1. And you can summon him with wolf beacons now to get the weapon and stuff. He's just meh. His attacks aren't really that showy. They're kind of generic. Me and my friend enjoyed fighting him. He was a somewhat enjoyable fight, but he was still pretty generic. And just bland. 2 more bosses I can think of off the top of my head that I can put here. Firstly, zeloid prelate. Oh wait, 3 more. I can think of 3 more actually. Zeloid prelate. I'd put zeloid prelate in the meh. I can't really put anything there. Do I have a... I have a paint thing. Well, I do have a paint thing, but I don't remember how to use it. But whatever. Zeloid Prelate would be right over here in meh. He's just a meh boss fight. The operation about him, Operation Hallowed Flame, that was pretty fun. As a boss, he's just meh. He doesn't drop a Warframe or anything, just his weapons. The Pathicist. No, wait. Pathicist was the name of the... his weapon, not the name of this guy. I don't remember his name now. Maybe it was Pathos. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting confused. Either way, you get the point. He's a meh. Next up, Nyhil. Nyhil, I'd put him in bad. He was really annoying. His glass shards hit really hard. The character behind him was pretty cool, and I love the little glass bottle thing that you can just tap and he gets all angry at you. You just shove that in your orbiter. You can listen to him complain at you every time you tap it. But the boss fight itself is annoying. The sword hitboxes are just weird. Just completely messed up. Like, he swings at you, you dodge it, but then when he lifts it, like, it's not even supposed to be a hitbox. It's not even the attack. He does the attack, and then he just brings it back up to his shoulder, and if that touches you or gets anywhere near you, you just lose all your shields or you just die. And just the mechanics aren't that fun, and it took me a while to beat him. I was scared I wasn't going to beat him because he was just hard, and not like fun hard, like annoyingly hard. And the last one I can think of for right now, the Ropalolist. I would put that in... I would put that in not bad. Ropalolist, very hard boss fight, especially the first time you go through it. Me and Jason really struggled with it that first time because we were just so low on ammo and just trying to take it down. After that first time, it's not really as hard once you figure it out. It's just a pretty fun boss fight. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. That's a really cool boss fight. I was complimenting Vore about feeling like an actual boss fight. So is Ropalolist. Like, it just feels like a true boss fight. Just this big, intimidating, bird-looking sentient, and it's just so cool. And it gives you Wisp, which is, I don't know, I don't have Wisp. I didn't want to grind Ropalolist, because it's just hard. Any other bosses I'm missing? And I'm not going to stick in the tag team fight. It would be more recent bosses, I'm thinking. I'm not counting Spectre bosses for obvious reasons. They're just Spectres, just Warframes, but like AI. So I'm not counting Spectre quest bosses or just Spectre bosses in the junctions. That should be just about everything. I guess if you want to count Cuva Liches, I just shove them in meh. They're just really grindy, and they give you good rewards, but they're kind of hard. I'd give them a meh if those were to be, if you were to consider those a boss. But other than that, that's about all I can think of. Oh yeah, Balor from Orient. I don't know if that even really counts. I haven't fought that though. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you for spending your time here with me. Thank you for getting all the way through this. This is my tier list. Obviously, you've got to remember the ones that I didn't have icons for, and I just mentioned. Thank you to DE for making such a great game. Have a good day. God bless. And feel free to share your opinions below.